Hello everyone, I'm Kenshin. Welcome to History Talks. Please subscribe, like, comment, and share with your friends. Also, don't forget to turn on the notification bell. Thank you. Today's historical discussion is about the immortal HeLa cells. Immortality, from emperors and generals to alchemists, has always been the ultimate goal in human history. But has anyone truly succeeded? Apart from legends, no one has achieved it, right? But today, I'm not talking about people. I'm talking about the history of cells obtaining immortality. It all started with a newspaper headline in 2010. Cancer cells killed Henrietta Lacks, 1920–1951, but also made her immortal. Strictly speaking, Lacks didn't achieve immortality, it was her cancer cells. Lacks lived in an era when cancer was dreaded by everyone. Medical options for cancer treatment were scarce, and discussions about cancer within families were usually kept silent. Medical researchers struggled to find cancer treatments, facing the biggest challenge of not being able to culture cells outside the body or conduct various experiments. Through a dramatic process, scientific research finally overcame this bottleneck, ushering in a new era of cell research, the era of HeLa cells. Scientist George Gay successfully cultured cervical cancer cells from Lacks in a petri dish and provided these cells and their culture method to researchers worldwide. These cells were named HeLa cells, with HeLa being the abbreviation of Henrietta Lacks' name. Prior to this, cells cultured outside the human body could only survive for a few days at most. However, HeLa cells exhibited extremely strong vitality in artificial culture conditions, replicating every 20 hours under appropriate conditions, proliferating indefinitely. Due to the robust vitality of HeLa cells, scientists discovered in the 1960s that they could even contaminate other cell cultures in the laboratory. According to renowned gynecologist Howard Jones, 1910, the tumor seen in Lacks was unprecedented, purple in color, prone to bleeding upon touch, and growing rapidly. I had never seen such a tumor before, and I have never seen one since, truly unparalleled. After the successful cultivation of HeLa cells, various related scientific research, even those bordering on science fiction, have utilized these cells for experiments. This includes introducing various toxins to observe their reactions and even sending the cells to space to study the effects of zero gravity on human cells. The completion of the polio vaccine also relied on HeLa cells. Even in the medical community, HeLa cells were initially unrecognized, with only a vague, abstract description until a certain event brought the truth to light. To understand HeLa cells, one must first know Henrietta Lacks. She was a descendant of white landowners and enslaved people, raised by her grandfather in slave quarters. Before giving birth to her fifth child, she expressed concerns about something in her abdomen, which her family and doctors doubted. In early 1951, diagnosed with cervical cancer at Johns Hopkins Hospital, she underwent radium treatment. However, in October of that year, she succumbed to cancer, like many others at the time, experiencing extreme pain before passing away. Lacks chose Hopkins for treatment because it offered free medical care to the poor. Due to poverty, she was buried without a headstone, leaving behind 5 young children who faced various hardships due to poverty, highlighting poverty as a long-standing societal issue. The issue arose because, before her death, researchers, including George Gay, harvested her cancer cells without her knowledge. Hopkins Hospital, known for admitting many impoverished patients for free medical resources, primarily African Americans, often obtained tissues or cells from them without informed consent. However, the story didn't end there. Lacks' cancer cells grew aggressively, almost replacing her kidneys in size. These cells, extremely active, had an unusually long lifespan compared to other cultured cells. Even Mary, an assistant in George Gay's lab, noticed signs of cell growth, doubling in quantity almost every day, seemingly dividing and growing endlessly at a terrifying speed. Mary even found that when she transferred the cells to other culture dishes, they quickly filled them up. For convenience, she labeled the culture dishes with the abbreviation of Henrietta Lacks' name, HeLa. George Gay relied on this cell to establish a cell system and shared this achievement with other research institutions. Even though he himself suffered from cancer and wanted his cancer cells to become the second generation of HeLa cells, it unfortunately failed. HeLa cells remain immortal to this day. We should understand that the limit of cell division is 56 times, known as the Hayflick limit. Each division consumes the telomeres of DNA, leading to cell death, which is a cause of human aging and death. However, unlike normal cells, HeLa cells or cancer cells can replenish telomeres with telomerase during division, which is the reason they surpass the limit of cell division. HeLa cells can live indefinitely, providing ideal subjects for experiments requiring cells. They have been used in various studies, including virus research. One of the earliest applications was in the development and testing of the polio vaccine, a breakthrough in pediatric medicine. With the help of HeLa cells, Dr. Jonas Salk finally developed the vaccine in 1954, leading to the establishment of the first cell factory, the Tuskegee Institute Cell Sales Center, which could produce up to 20,000 vials per week, equivalent to 600 million HeLa cells. This is truly astonishing. Over the past few decades, HeLa cells have been used in research on viruses such as HIV, AIDS, aiding in drug development, and have even been a pivotal factor in the rise of virology. In 1965, Henry Harris and John Watkins collaborated to merge mouse embryo cells with HeLa cells, successfully completing experiments to genetically locate specific chromosomes, thus initiating the Human Genome Project. To date, HeLa cells have undergone over 18,000 divisions, roughly equivalent to 450,000 years of human evolution from primates to Homo sapiens. Research on immortality using HeLa cells has been ongoing, although discreetly due to its sensitive nature, with mainstream media refraining from extensive coverage. Returning to the present day, the reason why HeLa cells are highly valued is because medical institutions profit immensely from their use, yet the family of Henrietta Lacks remains impoverished. As Henrietta Lacks' daughter expressed, "I've always found it very strange. If my mother's cells have contributed so significantly to medicine, why is it that her family can't afford to see a doctor? It's truly puzzling. Many people have become wealthy because of my mother, and we didn't even know they took her cells in the first place. Now we have nothing." She admitted, "I used to get so angry thinking about this. I was really angry, so angry that I got sick and even had to take medication." After Henrietta Lacks passed away over half a century ago, the scientific community finally addressed the issue. Johns Hopkins University and Henrietta Lacks' family formed a committee to jointly decide how HeLa cells should be used and by whom. When researchers first brought Henrietta Lacks' daughter to see the HeLa cells in the laboratory at Johns Hopkins University, she looked at those frozen vials and said, "I can't believe these are my mother." She blew on the test tubes and said, "You're cold. You're famous." We can make an assumption that if Henrietta Lacks were a white middle-class woman, perhaps the exciting scientific developments in the eyes of scientists would not have occurred. This is because she would likely have been in a different type of ward, not the free ward, and might have even received treatment at home. It was quite natural for medical personnel and researchers in the 1950s to take some tissue cells from such patients' bodies, to the extent that they didn't think much about the ethical issues involved. According to U.S. law, when patients undergo medical procedures or surgeries in hospitals, the tissues or body parts left behind do not belong to the patients but to the physicians or hospitals. Regardless, today, the availability of numerous medications for treating diseases is largely attributable to the immortal HeLa cells. Without their robust growth capabilities, even the polio vaccine might still be a distant dream.